Hello and welcome back to another episode of Off the Record, a podcast with Ashton. I'm so happy to be back. For some reason, I'm just gotta be honest. I'm a little nervous. I have no fucking idea why, but I am so nervous. It is so crazy. Even this is like rolling back into doing the podcast, as you know, the last episode, I was so nervous, but I feel like this one, I feel even more nervous. It's so crazy. But hello and welcome back. Before I get started with anything, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and hit that bell to be notified for any future uploads. Because like I said, we are on a roll here. I really didn't get to emphasize it on my last episode, so I'm going to actually do it now. With this podcast, I've started a lot. I've shared a lot about my life and just my growth and my journey over time. But that's not everything there is to me. I love many things. I love music. I love art. I love talking about a bunch of shit talking, I love the gossip. I like the tea. And today is no exception. We're going to switch things up a little bit today. Today, we're actually going to get a little political. So if politics is really not your thing, is not your forte, then baby, go ahead and click off, but subscribe first, but go ahead and click off because this ain't for you. But, I feel like I guess I'm kind of nervous on how to bring it up or how to roll it in, but I will start off with the Nicki Minaj of it all. Miss MAGA Minaj. What the fuck are you doing? If anybody knows me, I've had a very interesting history with Nicki Minaj online. If you know, you know. And this is no exception. I am actually very surprised in recent time to actually see her really come out as full MAGA. I want to preface everything I say by this first. I'm all okay with people having difference of opinions, different political views. I do think we do have to reach across the aisle a lot more. I would consider myself a Democrat and definitely more liberal. But I have Republican friends. I have people that I do know that pretty much did vote for Donald Trump in the election. And I don't despise those people. Again, we do have differences. And I do think as long as the general core of everything, of a person is not rooted in like bigotry, racism, hatefulness, I think we could pretty much kind of find some kind of common ground. So I don't want to feel like I'm attacking Miss MAGA Minaj for having any type of difference of opinion of me. I think hers is rooted a little bit differently. And that's what I actually want to touch on first. So I guess we can roll it back a little bit. So I believe in December 2025, Nicki sat down with Erica Kirk, who is Charlie Kirk's wife. Charlie Kirk, the podcaster who got assassinated, unfortunately, at Turning Points USA's America Fest. Now, just to touch on the Charlie Kirk of it all, I don't believe political violence is or should be acceptable. People should have a right to have their own opinion and, express their opinions, just like I intend to do today. So I do think that we do have to tone that down in the country. However, I do think you also have to be mindful of what you say. And I will leave it there. But to get back to Miss MAGA Minaj of it all, during that sit down with Erica Kirk, I was very surprised. Actually yesterday I took a deep dive and just wanted to actually watch the full, I think it was like 30-minute interview or whatever. And I was very surprised. Honestly, I was very surprised just at the route that she is taking. Because if you know anything about Nicki Minaj, in the beginning of her career, especially, definitely was very outspokenly democratic. Her fan base really is 99% of gay men, trans men, LGBT. So I'm just very surprised of her aligning her values now with the MAGA. But she did say during the interview with Erica Kirk about Trump, actually, she said he's given so many people hope that there's a chance to beat the bad guys. And then she also added that this administration is full of people with heart and soul. And, that was very interesting for me. Because if you have turned on your TV, if you have scrolled down social media, Instagram, Twitter alike, you will see everything that is going on in this country under this current administration. And to classify those people with heart or as having heart and soul is beyond me. I personally don't agree with that at all. The way that Trump has really unleashed ICE and giving them pretty much immunity for all the injustice and, volatile things that they have really, poured out into this community and to the world here recently. I'm just actually disappointed. I'm actually disappointed in her. I've never been a big Nicki Minaj fan. I'm not a Barb. So Barbs, please don't come for me. And I know you will. But I'm just disappointed that a Black woman, especially an immigrant, she is an immigrant. Her family came over here illegally, and she would still stand up on a stage and liken herself with people that are actually directly against everything that she is and everything that she has previously, or we thought that she previously stood for. It is very baffling to me. And then again, labeling the administration. Now, I guess I can give her a little leeway here. This was done again at the end of 2025. So we hadn't really seen the full force or the full realization of everything that ICE has been doing since then. But to label these people as full of heart and soul, here's just a quick little tidbit about some of these people with the heart and the soul. So according to a New York Times review of the recent batch of Epstein documents, Trump's name is listed over 35,000 times. Steve Bannon, a former Trump advisor, has also had super extended email correspondence with Epstein. And not only that, J.D. Vance, the motherfucking vice president, when asked, I believe that was with NBC recently, they asked him if they plan to apologize to the family of Alex Peretti. And if you don't know who Alex Peretti is, Alex Peretti was the American citizen, let me say that again, the American citizen who was murdered by ICE at a recent rally. And his response was, to me, very chilling. They asked him if they plan to apologize to the family of Alex Peretti, and his response was, for what? For what? Now, this is, again, a man that was labeled as having heart and soul in an administration of people that have heart and soul. And under your guidance, these ICE officials have murdered someone in plain sight. And when asked if you plan to apologize to the family, your response is, for what? So I think she's got a lot of growing to do. She's got a lot of thinking to do, because I would never classify anybody like that having heart and soul, in my personal opinion. But then as you sit down and you really start to think, again, knowing the history of Nicki Minaj, I really started to ponder, okay, so what would be the benefit of her aligning herself with this administration? Well, I've got an opinion. I've got a fucking opinion about that. So in my personal opinion, I guess I thought of like two immediately when I kind of started seeing everything roll out and seeing her really stand next to these people. I had like two things that popped into my head of why Miss MAGA Minaj could be doing exactly what the fuck she's doing. The first one was really the first thought I had, her husband. Now, if you don't know, Nicki Minaj is married to a man named Kenneth Petty. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe that they met, I think they knew each other like previously. He's some kind of like, member of some gang or something, allegedly. Like, let me cover my ass. CYA, cover your ass. Allegedly, a member of some gang or something along those lines. And they reconnected at like a Thanksgiving, charity event or something along those lines. And she has married this man. Now, why would she have any interest in standing next to Trump? Well, again, her husband. If you don't know, he does have an attempted rape charge. So in 1995, he was convicted in New York of a first-degree attempted rape. So he is technically not even technically, he is a registered sex offender after serving 4 years in prison. So again, I asked myself, why would she want to liken herself or align herself with the Trump administration? My first thought was, well, maybe she's going to try to see if she can get her husband a pardon. That was literally the first thought that came into my head. I think that would make a lot of sense, but it's a state charge. So with federal pardons, you can't pardon any state charges. So he is going to have that tag on his head forever. So then I was like, okay, well, maybe, just maybe it's not that, right? Maybe it's not that, because I don't see that working, because it just can't work. So then the other thought that I had in my head, Jay-Z. Now, this one is a little bit of a deep dive. I think you would really have to kind of, I guess, be keeping up with everything that Nicki has been saying and posting on social media for like the past few months in regards to Jay-Z. But there is some real deep rooted beef between her and Jay-Z. And I really think that the alignment with the current Trump administration is for protection. So to dig in a little bit into the Jay-Z of it all, so Nicki initially, when she first started her rant, I know it was last year in 2025, she got online and she started this whole entire rant about how Jay-Z owed her money. So when Jay-Z initially started Tidal, he had her sign, if anybody remembers, there was like this big panel of like all these celebrities. Rihanna was there, Madonna was there, Daft Punk was there, Beyonce, of course, was there, and he had them sign the contract to be part owners and have equity within Tidal. So, according to Nicki, Jay-Z owes her about around $100 to $200 million related to the equity stake in Tidal. He sold Tidal a few years ago, and that's where her bone is with Jay-Z. Now, in my opinion, if a motherfucker owes me $100 to $200 million, I'm not getting on motherfucking Twitter. Twitter fingers is not going on. I'm going straight to the motherfucking courts. I'm filing a lawsuit, and baby, we're going to take this thing straight to the motherfucking people. But she can't do that, or she hasn't done that yet. And I find that very interesting. I personally find that interesting that she would use Twitter as a vehicle to really air her grievances and not the court system if there's a legitimate contract there. Now, I believe Jay-Z said that, or someone said that she didn't sign that contract officially. She never really actually signed the contract, but I think there's something there. She also has said that Jay-Z and Roc Nation has been trying to sabotage her career. Yeah, I feel like with that, Nicki, please, baby, you've done a lot of sabotage to yourself. Ever since Cardi B, and I hate to bring Cardi into this. I really, really do. I hate to bring Cardi into this because I feel like every time something happens with Nicki, the go-to or the easy go-to is to bring Cardi and to rope Cardi into everything. And she really doesn't have anything to do with this. But I think since 2018, since Cardi jumped on the scene, your career has been in a downward spiral on its own. You've really let your vulnerability and your insecurity take the front seat in so many of the things that you've done. You didn't have to really go out that way. You could have risen up and been the quote unquote queen that you self-proclaim yourself to be. However, you didn't take that route. You decided to be immature, petty, and attack a woman that did nothing to you. So really, if Jay-Z and Roc Nation has anything to do with it, I could see maybe there would be some behind the scenes things with that, because we don't know everything as the general public, or John Q public, as they say. We don't know everything. And I will get to that in a little bit on these Epstein Files too. But we don't know everything that goes on behind the scenes in dealings and business dealings with these celebrities. There's a lot of shit that goes on behind these scenes that end up on the cutting room floor that we will never know. But I really do not see the vested interest that Jay-Z or Roc Nation really would have in really bringing you down. What are you really doing to be some target or to be some martyr for Jay-Z and Roc Nation? But again, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there is something going on behind the scenes. I will say to really get into to like wrap up the MAGA Minaj of it all. It is just disappointing, as I said earlier, of her being an immigrant, coming to this country, fleeing, I think she's from Trinidad and Tobago, fleeing there to come here for a better life. That's what most of these immigrants are doing. They're not coming here to do anything other than take care of their family, provide a better life. Now, of course, you have your one-offs, right? And I think that's where a lot of people sometimes get stuck. People get stuck on the one-offs. Yes, every immigrant is not bad. Every immigrant is not a rapist, a murderer, a killer. It's not bringing drugs. It's not, a part of the cartel. And I think that is an unfortunate spin that this administration has really put on people and put in people's minds to look at immigrants as something less than, or that they don't deserve the same freedoms and to enjoy the same life that we do here in America. But I hate to break it to you, they do. They do. Now, we can go back and forth. And again, as I stated earlier, about political opinion and political difference. We don't have to agree, right? So you might think like, okay, well, maybe they should come over the right way. Is there really a right way? I don't know that. In my personal opinion, and maybe this is the liberal in me speaking, is there really a right way? And I guess they could go through the proper channels to become citizens. But think of how long that takes. There's been stories and there's been instances of people waiting their whole entire lives waiting to get citizenship here in this country. So maybe the real conversation we need to be having is how we can fix a broken system, not that immigrants don't deserve to be here. And I think that's a way that we really could, open it up to really start having dialogue with other people across the aisle. Because like I said, we can have a difference of opinion. You don't have to agree the same way in what I say in the same way that I wouldn't agree with what you would think. However, I do think there's a general and a basic understanding that we should have as humans and understanding each other and having compassion. I really feel like compassion and compassion has left this country. There is no more compassion for people. And that saddens me in so many ways, because you look at your neighbor. I don't know what the next person is going through. I don't know what the next person has been through, but does it cost me anything to be nice, to be kind, to be understanding, to hear, to listen, to open up my arms and accept them however they choose to come? It really doesn't. It really does not. But unfortunately, that's not the era that we live in. But the era we do live in has let a lot of crazy shit go on. Speaking of crazy shit, I also want to touch on those crazy ass Epstein emails and files. Now, my first thing about the fucking Epstein Files is what the entire fuck is going on. So for full disclosure, I watched a couple of years ago, Netflix did a really good in-depth documentary. If you have not seen it, please go see it, about Epstein. I had never known about this fucking man. I ain't heard shit about this fucking man. He literally could be just a random nigga on the street to me. I ain't never seen him. I ain't never heard of him. Everything that I heard about that man is so freaking chilling. He is so creepy and scary to me. And I just don't even understand how anyone has let this man get away with half of the shit that he has done. It is so crazy. But I do want to just touch on a little bit of the people that are listed in these Epstein files, allegedly. Again, CYA. Allegedly, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Alan Dershowitz. Now, these are really, really high profile people, as you can tell. A lot of these people have mixed and mingled with Epstein. Now, I will say this, just to give everybody like a little grace. Just because your name is in those emails or in those files doesn't mean that you really have been, you've been muddied up with everything that Epstein was doing. You might have met him at a charity event because apparently he had some kind of ties to like charity and he was getting money from that. You could have met him out socially. So I feel like just because your name appears, people shouldn't necessarily have daggers, but I do believe you should answer questions, which is what Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton are about to do in front of the House committee, which is awesome. But with all this stuff with the Epstein files, the DOJ released 3.5 million pages of related Epstein file documents. And in those documents, it is some crazy shit because you have emails, you have pictures, you have video. In one of the emails, so one day I was literally just scrolling on Twitter, and I guess when the DOJ initially released everything, they were everywhere. I could not literally scroll without seeing something about someone being included, someone's name being brought up, a random crazy email, a random crazy video. They actually have photos of Prince Andrew. There is a girl, and I'm going to describe the picture. Now, it's not salacious, but it is giving intel of to really what's going on with these people in this high profile society. There is a young girl. They do have her face blocked out, so you can't see the young girl's face, which is protection to the victims, which I believe it should be first and foremost for everything. We should be protecting these victims, but I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But you see this young girl laying on the ground, laying on the floor, and Prince Andrew is hovering on top of her. That is scary. And that is disgusting. These are high profile men who have been covering for each other and probably thought they could get away with it forever. I really don't. I guess I need to do a little bit more deep diving into like where the tip really came from to really nail Epstein like this. But think of if they have 3.5 million pages of evidence against this man, a lot of people had their hands in this shit, right? And you know what? Another thing I find kind of crazy about the Epstein Files, and I feel like I kind of have to eat crow a little bit. The motherfucking conspiracy theorists were right. They were kind of right. Oh my God. And I feel so bad because I immediately, like when people would come up to me with like conspiracy theories about this shit, I'd be like, that just sounds so wild. That just sounds so crazy. The shit is wild and this shit is crazy. And it was really happening. Two conspiracies I really think I believe now that have come from this because there's actually evidence in those emails was one, Pizzagate, and then two, the Wayfair scandal. Now, the Pizzagate thing, it kind of is like lost on me because I haven't really I don't really remember everything about the Pizzagate. I believe, though, it has something to do with like ordering kids, and the way that they would disguise it within the email is to do it as pizza. And pizza was like supposedly like a code word for boys, like young boys, young girls. And in those emails, I believe there's over thousands of damn emails that they have where people are referencing pizza. Y'all not eating all that goddamn pizza. There's just no way that there is fucking 20,000 goddamn emails about pizza. You bitches ain't that fucking hungry. But it's so many. So to me, there has got to be some kind of truth to that conspiracy theory, right? But the crazier one, to me, the crazier one is the Wayfair scandal. Now, a couple years ago, I remember getting tipped off about this. Like somebody sent me a video or something on TikTok or something. And it was basically how Wayfair apparently and allegedly was disguising the sale of furniture for really the sale of children. Now, I know that probably sounds like a reach, right? All of the furniture that was being found and being sold were named after kids that were missing. That's kind of a correlation. And in the files, they released an email from Epstein's assistant, and she purchased a single unlabeled item for $8,453 from Wayfair. There is no label on what that purchase was. Does that not seem weird? Does that not seem fishy? Does that not seem scary? And again, just go, let's just say, let's literally just say, let's say that's not true, right? Why would that furniture be named after kids that are missing? There's literally somewhere online, and I'm sure you can literally, if you Google this, you can pull it up. There was literally a side-by-side of the furniture with the missing kid posters. There is thousands of this. Thousands of things like this, thousands of images of these missing children next to random thousands of dollars worth of furniture. It's just like one item. It'll be like a dresser for like $17,000. What fucking dresser is $17,000? Now, Wayfair is expensive. Let me clarify that. But that shit is high. Bitch, I was trying to get a couch one time and that shit was like $5,000. No, ma'am. But bitch, to my recollection, I didn't think it was a fucking kid. It's very crazy. And it's scary to me that all of this was really going on in front of our faces. In front of our faces. Like, this is not a secret. They have put this out there, and we, I guess, just been so blinded in a way to just follow and just believe what, comes out in the media or comes out in just random, like, I guess, news articles. But this shit is really real. This shit is really going on. And I really believe that Wayfair one. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I still think conspiracy theories are kind of crazy. But I will say my fucking eyebrows raised on a couple of them now, because if that Wayfair one doesn't seem like it's a nail on the head to you, it's a nail on the head to me, for damn sure. But I really want to get into one specific email that I actually did see in regards to all this Epstein shit that really actually bothered me. So this was an email that it looks like it was an FBI type of detailing of a victim that was coming forward to tell what he had experienced. Now, I'm going to read some of the shit that I wrote down on my cards. Like I said, I'm a real motherfucking talk show host over here with these cards, okay? I'm going to read a little bit of what I wrote down from this email, because this email really stuck with me, because it just, I guess it puts everything in a nutshell of like, what the fuck is really going on? So one specific email detailed a bunch of crazy shit. So in this email, it is alleged that Daddy Bush, he raped a male victim, allegedly. Now, this is all allegedly within this email. And that the same victim was subjected to a ritual sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a sword. But it didn't just stop there. I think, and this is the craziest part of this email to me. He stated that on the yacht that he was on, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines being removed, and people eating the intestines with feces in the intestines. What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? These motherfuckers is eating babies, is eating intestines. What is going on? Like, has anybody, I mean, I know I just put that on y'all. I know I just hit y'all with that over y'all's head. But that's just literally what I'm saying to myself as I'm reading this shit. I literally I'm not even joking, I called my mama and I was like, what is happening? What is happening? Is this the end of the world? Like, what is going on? What type of shit would make you decapitate a baby, dismember a baby, take out the intestines, and eat the fucking intestines with shit in it? What is going on? What do these people, I guess, I don't know if clearly some type of voodoo and fucking rituals and, sacrificial shit is going on. But who would have ever thought that? I feel like that is so strange and so wild and so crazy. And I think if someone was to say that to you, I think your immediate reaction would be like, no, the hell it's not. But to see it in these emails, to me, puts a stamp on that. And that is some crazy ass shit. That literally has stuck with me since I've seen it. That's really the one email that has really stuck with me. I've seen the other ones. Like, I actually did see an email with Elon Musk. And hold on, I will tap on this after I say this email. There was an email with Elon Musk, which I found very interesting as well. And there was actually a few with him on there, of course, but the one email that stuck out to me was he was reaching out to Jeffrey Epstein to see when he could get to the island to have the party with a bunch of underage girls. These people are standing in front of our faces. What the fuck are we going to do? What are we really going to do about this shit? I guess that's the question I really want answered. Is after I read all this shit, literally the next day I had to go to work. Like, it doesn't stop our lives, but it needs to stop something. Something's got to be done about what. And another thing I really have an issue with in these emails, a lot of this shit is redacted. What the fuck is that gonna do? If we're really trying to air this shit out and we're trying to protect these victims, air everybody out. I don't care if you're a Democrat, if you're a Republican, if you're an independent, if you're a billionaire, millionaire, fucking thousandaire. If you're implicated in these emails, especially about some shit like this, you need to have no protection. You need to be called out in front of everybody and handled as such. I don't personally believe in the death penalty just because I just don't feel like people should be able to play God. But in a lot of ways, I do think these motherfuckers, I don't know if I can say that. Let me roll that back. But something needs to something needs to happen with these motherfuckers, because if you feel like you can dismember children, and the scary thing is, a lot of these young victims that were on the Epstein Islands, where are their parents? Where is any guardian? How did they get there? There's so many answers. And now granted, the DOJ, like I said, there's over 3 million pages of this shit. So it's still going to be so much to come out of all of this. And I really am going to try to follow it. It's a lot of information, a lot of like creepy, scary fucking shit, but I want to see something come out of this, and it's not going away. Donald Trump actually just recently said, well, now I think that we should just move on from the Epstein Files. Donnie, there is no moving on from these Epstein Files. These Epstein Files are going to be hanging over your head. And your House committee also, again, just called Bill and Hillary Clinton to testify in front of the House. And I will give them their props. Now, Bill is definitely implicated in these emails. So if Bill did some fucking shit, Bill got to go down, baby. I don't give a fuck. Bill's going down, straight down. But the boss shit, I will respect is that they call for a public hearing, meaning they want it televised and in front of everybody. That is the way to fucking change it. Get in front of this shit. I really hope, honestly, when they get in front of the House committee, I hope they take all these motherfuckers down. Quit protecting any of these disgusting, nasty ass billionaire, millionaire motherfuckers. These niggas is nasty. These niggas is crazy. And I'm just so shocked that this shit is really going on. Like, the world that we live in is so crazy. Like, there's no other word for it. This shit is, and I don't want to go on like a whole tangent about like demonic, but it's demonic. That is out of this world. And I'm just interested to see how the fuck this shit shakes out. I really respect Bill and Hillary for calling for a public hearing in front of everybody, cameras on, because I really want the real people to be exposed. Because like I said, in those emails, there's a lot of redactions. There's quite a few redactions. Quit protecting these motherfuckers, these pedophiles, these child molesters, these fucking child eaters. What the hell? These motherfuckers is eating kids. Like, what the hell? Don't protect them. Give these victims, these rightful victims, their just due. That is genuinely what I hope is the outcome after all of this. Of course, it's going to get more salacious because there's going to be more names that are exposed. There's going to be more emails, more conversations, more correspondence that's going to come out. Like I said, there's over 3 million files and pages that have been released by the DOJ. This is not over by the slightest. It is probably just getting started. This is the tip of the iceberg. But I hope we truly see, in the end, some true accountability and some true justice for these victims. And I know I just went all dark and shit. I know I went all dark and shit with that, but it is just crazy to me. It has blown my mind. It is really blown my mind. But I do want to switch it up here. I do want to just kind of make it a little lighter. A little lighter. And this is probably the worst pivot in the world. It's probably fucking terrible because I went in a rabbit hole about fucking Epstein. But I do want to say, I do want to say, for full clarity, I'm actually filming this episode on the day that my first episode actually is dropping. And I want to just be very open and share that I'm just so thankful. I'm so thankful. And I'm so happy for all the people that have really like shown up and shown out for me coming back on this podcast. I got a lot of love when I announced that I was coming back, and it just feels good to be back. Now, it don't feel good to be talking about this Epstein shit with these baby eaters, but it feels good to, be acknowledged and not feel like I was forgotten. I think that was like a big fear that I had a little bit, was that I was like, will people even give a fuck about me coming back with this podcast? But the love is real, man. The love is real, and I appreciate it, y'all. I really do. Again, I know I hit y'all over the head with that Epstein shit, but bitch, that shit was on my heart. This is some crazy shit. And I will say, to kind of close it out, I will say, we can't really control what any of these nasty, crazy ass motherfuckers are doing around us. But one thing I will really highlight and hope to pass on to you is that you should care about your people. Love on your family. Love on your friends, take stock in your community and the people that you really want to pour into and that pour into you. Times are crazy. Like I said, I really was kind of like, is this the end of the fucking world? Like all the information that's happening, because it's really not just the Epstein Files. It's the Epstein Files plus everything that's going on with the economy. Because even though that, that's happening around us, we still have to have real life. We're still in real life. Everybody still got to go to work. Bitch, I just got off of work. We still got to pay fucking bills. Bitch, my rent, I just pay rent. You know what I'm saying? Like the lights is due, the water's due, the car note's due, the insurance, bitch, the tire is flat. You got to air that bitch up. It's like real life is really still going on in the midst of all of this crazy chaotic shit. And I really think that a lot of this shit feels super heavy. It feels heavy. It's a lot of information coming at you very, very fast. The algorithm is telling you to be afraid. People are putting it in your head, and it is scary. Trust me, it is fucking scary, and it's a lot to be fearful about in regards to that whole shit. But I really want to at least, I guess, shine some light on that, and just to say, like, prioritize the shit you can control. Prioritize the love and the people that you have around you, because this shit is getting rocky, and it's only going to get rockier, unfortunately. I think it's going to just continue to get a little deeper and a little darker and a little heavier in the next couple of months in this year. But, even in all that, around all of the bullshit, you got to still do your thing. You got to still stick your head up, stick your chest out, and keep walking. So I just hope that, I don't know. I hope that none of this shit really phases you, but I hope you do keep your eyes on this motherfucking shit. Cause bitch, I'm keeping my eyes on it, cause I don't want nobody around me that's doing some crazy shit or believing in, or, kind of siding with these motherfuckers, these kooky, crazy, nasty, disgusting ass bitches. I don't know. This shit is kind of weird to me. And it's just, I don't know. We got to shake that shit off in the 2026, but I'm going to keep my ears to the streets, baby, because it's out here. But I've kind of belabored the point with you guys. I feel like I've dragged it out. Keep your eyes on this Epstein shit, though, because I'm really going to touch on it. I really want to come back and continue. The more shit come out, because really after this Bill Clinton and Hillary shit, I think it's going to be real, real good, bitch. Ooh, I think that's going to be the shit that's going to shake this motherfucker up, baby. And I'm kind of scared, but I'm kind of excited for it, too. So love yourself. Love your friends. Love your family. And fuck Epstein. Fuck Trump. And fuck ICE. And I love y'all. Peace.